What's the moment that made you decide being nice wasn't working anymore? I used to be the person everyone called when they needed something, the one who would drop everything to help a friend move or stay late at work to finish someone else's project. My boss would text me at 11 p.m. and I'd respond immediately. I'd cover shifts when coworkers called in sick. I'd volunteer for the projects nobody wanted. I was raised to believe kindness would always come back to you. For 5 years at Davidson Media, I was the first to arrive and last to leave. I helped my coworkers meet their deadlines. I brought coffee for the team when everyone was stressed. I even let my boss Diane take credit for my ideas during presentations, because she said it would look better coming from management. When my dad got sick last year, I asked Diane if I could work remotely 2 days a week so I could drive him to chemo. She sighed and said, "We really need you in the office, but I suppose we can make it work for a month or two." I was so grateful that I worked twice as hard on my office days, making sure nothing fell through the cracks. Dad's treatment was supposed to last 6 months, but after 3 months, Diane called me into her office. She said the remote arrangement wasn't working. The team needed me physically present every day, and besides, it had been long enough. I explained that Dad was only halfway through treatment. He couldn't drive himself and had no one else. She just stared at me until I lowered my eyes and said, "I understand." I spent the next week burning through my savings to hire drivers for Dad. I was exhausted, constantly worried about him, but still the first one in the office every morning. Then came the Maxwell project, a huge account that could make or break our quarter. I spent weeks researching, building the pitch, creating mock-ups, everything. I even missed one of Dad's appointments to finish it. The day before the presentation, Diane asked to see my materials. I handed over everything, including my presentation notes. The next morning, I arrived early, excited to present my work, only to find the conference room already full. Diane was at the head of the table, showing my slides to the clients. I stood in the doorway frozen as she used my exact words, my research, my ideas. When she saw me, she smiled and said, "Oh, good. Jennifer, can you grab coffee for everyone? We're just getting started." The client turned, saw me, and said, "Aren't you presenting this?" Before I could answer, Diane jumped in and said, "Oh no, this is my project. Jennifer just helped with some research." I got the coffee. I stood in the back of the room and watched as she was praised for my work. The client loved it. They signed a 3-year contract, the biggest in company history. When the executives came down to congratulate the team, Diane accepted all the praise. She got a bonus. She got a promotion. I got a $50 gift card to Starbucks. That night, Dad called. He'd fallen trying to get from the taxi to his front door. He had been lying on the ground for 20 minutes before a neighbor found him. If I had been there, I kept thinking, if I had just been there. 2 days later, the company held a celebration for the Maxwell deal. Diane was given an award. I stood and clapped with everyone else. Then came the announcement that made everything stop. Diane would now head up a new division created specifically for the Maxwell account, and she needed a strong team. She spent 10 minutes talking about the qualities she was looking for, then announced her first hire, Ryan, the guy who had been with the company for 6 months and hadn't contributed a single thing to the project. I sat there stunned as everyone congratulated him. Then Diane looked at me and said, "Jennifer, I need those quarterly reports by end of day. I know you won't let me down." Something broke inside me. 5 years.